Hello and welcome to the Locker Room. I'm Noah Mueller, and I'm joined here by Nick Lynch, Ben Heltzer, and Jake Minardi for our NFL segment of the Locker Room. So starting off, Drake May, 91% completion percentage. He broke the record for the Patriots, even got past Brady, and the Patriots came up with a big win in a game against Tennessee, which it should have been. Do they have a chance to win the AFC East? Because obviously their competition's Buffalo, and then the Dolphins, and then the Jets, who have an identity crisis. But actually, both of them do. But honestly, I just think the Dolphins are really horrible.
Well, I mean, I think with the way that both teams are playing now, and as I say both, I mean New England and Buffalo, I think New England can win the AFC East. But I think the Bills will turn it around at some point. I mean, they lost 2 straight. They're coming off a bye. I think they'll do pretty good next week coming off that bye and that extra rest.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt the Patriots have a chance to win the AFC East. I mean, it's really just a competition between them and the Bills. That's obvious. But I think right now with the way Drake May is playing, really like him. I mean, he's gross. But I think it's between like the Bills can definitely come away with it. But just because we saw some early season struggles, which really weren't even that much of struggles, doesn't mean they can't come away with the conference. And we know what Josh Allen does. But I would definitely say Patriots have a chance to win it, especially if May keeps up the way he's been playing.
Also, looking at both of their schedules, they have some of the easiest remaining schedules, but the Patriots especially, they have to go to Tampa. They have the Bills again. They have to go to Cincinnati. Falcons could be a tough game, but besides that, I mean, they have the Browns, the Jets twice, the Dolphins, the Giants. Like, these are some really easy games, and I think that they could take advantage of this and maybe even take the division. You know, the Bills still have Kansas City. They still have Tampa. They still have Philadelphia and some other hard games like that. So I think that this division's wide open.
Yeah, and also I think like the Patriots' big win against the Bills has something to play in it too. But I think if they win both games against Buffalo, I think they could win the East.
Yeah, and I think having to play this year's Jets twice definitely plays a big role in helping them.
Absolutely.
So to move on here, the Giants, they go up 19-0. They go up 26-8. They allow 33 fourth-quarter points, and they lose the game. We got a clean house. Brian Dable should be gone. Shane Bowen should be gone. The kicker, I think, already got released. I think he should have been sent on his way right after the game. Like, I don't think he should have gotten a chance to go to the locker room. I think it's absurd that Shane Bowen thinks it's a good idea with 30 seconds left to play soft zone with 8 men back in a 3-man rush. And I think Jackson Dart played well. I think you look at it, you say, hey, you got your franchise quarterback. Thank God, because we haven't had that in years. But I think the defense played really bad. I think there was poor decision-making when Dart threw that pick, but I have no complaints otherwise. I love how he drove us down the field on that last drive, but obviously the defense can't hold. It's very much just a Giants game. It's a way that the Giants always end up losing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if they make 2 extra points, they win the game. If Jackson Dart doesn't throw that pick, they win the game. But I think the defense played well for 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter, like you said, they dropped 8 men back, and they still gave up a 15-yard or 30-yard completion at the end of the game that set up the game-winning field goal. You know, I think that that can't happen, especially when you drop eight men back on defense. I mean, it's absurd.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to put on the kicker. Obviously, the kicker missed 2 extra points. It's unacceptable. But, like, can we really let up 33 points in the fourth quarter? Like, that's just – like, I'm pissed. But, like, look at this game. Like, I'm just pissed. Like, Jackson Dart looked great once again. Should be 3 – realistically, the Giants should be 4-3. I mean, beat themselves against the Saints. That's the game where we were like, oh, yeah, that's the one game the Giants can win, but they didn't. And this game, there's just no way you lose that game. Like you said, Noah, love the way Jackson Dart is playing. I am confident and happy in the fact that he can be the franchise quarterback. But Shane Bowen, I think it's more him than Dable. Obviously, I'm not satisfied with Dable, but he needs to go more than anyone. I said it in the beginning of the season. I mean, he's not using that star front that we have, the 4 pass rushers. He's not using them to their full ability. Like, I'm tired of watching at the end of the game, they're playing prevent. Like, just play normal defense. Have pass rushers. I'm tired of watching 3 guys rush the passer, and we're playing prevent. We can't even cover anyone. Deontay Banks, awful. He was garbage. Shouldn't have been in the game at the end. I mean, there's just so many things you could say, but it really just lies around the defense. I mean, Jackson Dart did throw the late game interception, but I mean, you can't put everything on him. He's a rookie. He had a great game, and that's a rookie mistake that you make, and I'm willing to live with that. You don't let up 33 points. That pick does not matter with the way the whole game went. So really, really just a defensive problem and a coaching problem.
Yeah, you sound happy. Anyway, this is something that I've never seen before, but what's crazy about this game is that I'm still looking at the positives for the Giants here. Like, you have a quarterback, you have a great running back, you have a great receiver core, especially when Neighbors gets back next year. There's definitely some underlying issues on defense that were exposed, but I think overall the Giants have potential to be a great team heading into next season. And, they just got to figure some stuff out. Like, it's hard to go into a place like Mile High against a good team like the Denver Broncos and win. And they almost did it. So I think that, they're in a better place than everyone thought. And I think you should just take that.
I completely agree. Like, I'm happy about, where we're at right now. And, I'm not happy about where we're at because we shouldn't be 2-5. But I'm happy about, the potential in the future that's in front of us with our young stars. But the only reason I'm mad is because we should be winning these games. We have potential to be great in the future, but we also have potential to be a solid team right now. And with the current coaching, it's just not happening.
I think Shane Bowen should be gone, and I think Paul Sonny-Debo should join him on the way out. I think Paul Sonny-Debo has been horrible all year. He has barely any PBUs. He can't defend the receiver he's guarding. He's a liability at this point, and we're paying him millions of dollars. We just signed him to a new contract this offseason, and it's the least productive signing I've seen in the NFL this year.
Exactly. All right, moving on. The Cowboys, they won in dominant fashion, much needed after loss to the Panthers, and, just a little bit underwhelming with ties. What are you guys' thoughts?
The Commanders, even with Jaden Daniels, they had no chance of winning that game. I mean, the Cowboys pretty much had answers to everything the Commanders threw at them. I mean, yes, Jaden Daniels got hurt, which is terrible for Washington. But, I mean, I thought the Cowboys played really well, especially, because I think they were underdogs that game. I'm pretty sure. But, I mean, the defense, that was the best game for the Cowboys defense I've seen all year. They got a pick 6 off of Marcus Mariota. But looking forward for Washington, I think that first you got to see what Jaden Daniels, I think he left with a hamstring injury, but they're 3-3. I wouldn't be so worried if I were Washington because I don't think this is going to be a long-term thing for Daniels, and I think that Washington can still make the playoffs.
I think Washington's very fraudulent. I'll say it now. I think Daniels is a great quarterback. I think some parts of their defense are good, some aspects. I think McLaurin's good, but I think he's scared to play football right now. I don't like their team. They're really horribly built, and that's on the GM. They were really well built last year. They had guys like Bobby Wagner, all those guys, the veterans. They don't really have anybody this year that really piques my interest. They have McLaurin and Daniels as the receiving duo, but McLaurin doesn't even play football. I don't think McLaurin's played since week 1.
Yeah, I mean, Deebo Samuel, too. He was supposed to be a big star signing wide receiver. I mean, he hasn't
He's
really
been good,
shown.
actually.
He's been solid.
He's been decent, but I feel like he hasn't worked up to the potential that everyone was hoping for.
There's not much potential with a guy like that because he's fallen off the last 2-3 years. So when you look at it, he's a solid wide receiver too, an 800-yard receiver. That's where you about cap it. He's good in the run game too. I think Washington will go 8-9 or 7-10. I think they're really going to underwhelm some people because I think Daniels is going to keep dealing with these small injuries that could progress into more. I don't know when McLaurin's playing football. I don't know when his schedule says play football. I think their defense is awful. And in terms of the Cowboys, because I want to stop trashing the Commanders, Cowboys are putting it all together. I think the Cowboys look great. I think their offensive line has always been awesome. I think Dak's an MVP contender. CeeDee Lamb's back. He had a huge game. Pickens can have a huge game whenever possible. I mean, they even used guys like Ryan Flournoy when Lamb was out. And the defense looked great. They're starting to put it together. And it looks like Schottenheimer is really the guy that can coach them. He looks very good as a coach. It's not like Dable, where his one highlighted game is slamming your headset.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love what Dallas is doing on the offensive side of the ball. And if they could keep their defense in check, they could make a serious push for the playoffs. I know the NFC is pretty stacked right now. I think there's like 5 or 6 5-win teams in there, and as well as the Packers, who are 4-1-1. But, like, you know, this Cowboys team is right up there with them. And Dak's playing the best football of his career. CeeDee's great. Pickens is great. Javonte Williams, he's rumbling for over 100 yards and a touchdown, seems like every week. And I really like this Cowboys team.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I hate the Cowboys, you know, they can definitely be good and make the playoffs, have a push. Don't think they'll get to the conference game, you know, or have a chance, anything like that, Super Bowl, because they never do.
Not
But
this year, but.
not really anytime soon, but you look at their defense, which is being turned around. If that happens, then that's just really what they need. I mean, you look at the result of every game, their offense is a powerhouse. There's no doubt about it. If they have a solid defense at all this year, I mean, who knows where they could go, because that offense is really hard to stop right now. But, yeah, I'd like to disagree with Nick with the Commanders take. I think it is a little bit time to start worrying if you're a Commanders fan. I mean, they're 3-4. They play the Chiefs next week. Obviously, Jaden Daniels, it's not a long-term injury. But you look at the way they're playing this year so far, after a great year last year, like Noah said, there's not as much of a direction. Like, you expected, you know, a great year after a strong year last year, and it's really just not there. It's very underwhelming. And so I would start to worry if I'm a Commanders fan, because it's sort of starting to go downhill and losing direction.
All right, so moving on, everyone's player of the week. I'm actually going to go with an Eagles player. I'm going to go Devontae Smith. Jalen Hurts finally learns how to throw the ball. I thought that was unbelievable. I thought he had a good game. Still don't think he's a top 10 quarterback, but Devontae Smith went for 9 receptions, 183 yards, and a touchdown. Played great. I mean, it's vintage Smitty. That's a new personal record in receiving yards. He caught literally everything that went his way. I thought A.J. Brown played good as well. But, I mean, the big spotlight was on Devonta Smith. What do you guys have?
So for my pick, I'm going to go with Joe Flacco. I mean, that was a great game, first of all, between the Steelers and the Bengals. But I think Joe Flacco, I mean, somehow he still shows competition, even though he's, 30-something years old. But, I thought he played great. The entire Bengals team played great.
Yeah, no, I thought Flacco going into that game with, little to no preparation played really well. Yeah. What do you guys have?
I'm going to stick with that game, stick with the Bengals, go back to receiver, and I'm going to go with Jamar Chase. I mean, this is the Jamar Chase that we've been missing this season. 16 receptions, 161 yards and a touchdown. It just felt like every single time Flacco was throwing the ball, he was throwing to Jamar Chase. And, this is what the Bengals need in Joe Burrow's absence. And I think that it was a great win. Jamar Chase is back on track, and I had him in fantasy. So it was a good week for me.
Good week for you. I was going to go with Jamar Chase. Great week for him, and I think the reason why he was missing those kind of performances, because even with, incompetent quarterback play, he's been very solid. He's still putting up decent numbers, even put up decent numbers last week. Now that he has Flacco and leading up to Burrow coming back to the end of the season, I think this is really only good for him and T. Higgins. It's very good for them and the Bengals, and I think this could sort of be the turnaround for their season until Joe Burrow gets back. For my player of the week, I'm going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs. Over 200 yards total, 80 receiving, 130 rushing, that big burst and the 70-yard carry. I mean, great game for him, great game for the Lions. They pretty much, I wouldn't say dominated, but they controlled the whole game against the Buccaneers, and great game for the Lions, great game for Gibbs. He looked explosive and unstoppable that game.
Yeah, no, I think Dan Campbell was lying a little bit, stretching the truth when he said, let's get Monty more involved, because Monty was actually way less involved than he's been all year.
Really not much involvement, and I played him at flex, so that kind of messed me up a little bit.
Yeah, no, I had Gibbs. Good day.
Good day for you.
Yeah. Well, that's it on the NFL this week. But don't go anywhere. Myles and Luke will be joining us up here for college football. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the locker room. We're now going to be discussing college football. So this week, a lot of undefeated teams have went down. Miami, who's looked outstanding, lost to Louisville. Texas Tech losing on a big upset, and Ole Miss now losing a good game to Georgia. Thoughts on a lot of undefeated teams going down and a lot of movement?
Yeah, I had Ole Miss losing. I just want to start there. But they did definitely put up more of a fight than I thought they would. They had the lead, but they lost it at the end. However, Miami and Texas Tech, I absolutely did not see that coming. Now Georgia Tech is favored to win the ACC, and Miami, it's not a great look losing to Louisville at home, I believe. And and then as far as Texas Tech goes, again, another shocker. It was a crazy week.
Yeah, I mean, Carson Beck played like he was blind for most of the game. 4 interceptions. Like, you have to try to throw that many picks. But they still barely lost. I mean, they were in the game the whole time, and Miami's probably still going to make the playoffs. So, although they're probably not going to win the ACC, I still feel like they could genuinely really do something in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched Carson Beck play a lot as a Georgia fan, and he's just not a good quarterback. The 4 interceptions is a lot. He threw another one that got called back, too, for roughing the passer. And I think they still will make the playoffs, or at least have a chance to play Georgia Tech in the conference championship to go to the playoffs. And they're a really good team, but I don't think they're a title contender. And I think it's always going to be the same teams of like Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama that are really the top, and everyone else is trying to get to that level.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Miami's success is going to really depend on Carson Beck now because, like you said, it was a close game the whole time despite him throwing 4 interceptions. So I think really Carson Beck is just going to have to play well. Like the defense still looks very good. Receivers, I mean, they have young stars, Malachi Toney. They're great. It's just Carson Beck can't look like he did that night, and especially because he looked like exactly how he did at Georgia. Like you said, Luke, as a Georgia fan, he had those games all the time, and that's what we weren't seeing this year. He was making a Heisman campaign, but 4 interceptions, that's sort of thrown out the window now. But for teams like Texas Tech, I'm not a big fan of the Big 12 undefeated teams. It's a pretty weaker conference, but I thought Texas Tech looked great. That one really surprised me. Ole Miss, on the other hand, I'm impressed with them. I thought they had a chance to win that game, and I think even with that loss, I think they're a very good team. Now that a lot of undefeated teams went down, there are 6 undefeated teams remaining. That's number 1 Ohio State, 2 Indiana, Texas A&M. That's the top 3. Georgia Tech, BYU, and Navy. Obviously, Navy's on the outside, the top 25. And then you got teams like Georgia Tech, BYU competing for their conference championships.
Yeah, and as far as those 6 teams, I could see 3 of them. I can see 2 of them even going undefeated the entire year, and those are the 2 Big Ten teams, Ohio State and Indiana. Really no hard games, especially for Indiana. I mean, the only question mark really is Penn State, but they look terrible. They just lost again. And Ohio State obviously has to play Michigan. They have to go to Michigan and get over the hump, but I think they will do it. And as far as the other teams, Navy is a solid group of 5 school. BYU, Georgia Tech, and A&M all should be – actually, I shouldn't even say that. Texas A&M and Georgia Tech should be playoff teams, and BYU is very solid as well. So, yeah, those 6 teams are all looking good.
Yeah, how about Navy, man? I mean, Blake Horvath, in their last game, the quarterback, by the way, ran for 19 carries, 155 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They're running like the wing T offense, and they're still undefeated late in the season. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I agree. If they could keep winning in the American and they go undefeated, they have to play some decent teams. No great teams win the conference championship. They'll be a playoff team, I think, because one group of 5 team does get a playoff bid, and I think that could be them. And BYU, they've got some hard games coming up against ranked Utah and ranked Cincinnati, and they'll have to win both of those games because I think really only one Big 12 team will get in, and you have to go to the conference championship and win that. So whichever Big 12 team wins the conference championship will get in.
Yeah, the issue with Navy is that they play Notre Dame on November 8th. So if they somehow can win that would be incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ohio State and Indiana are going to have to play each other in the conference championship. That's what I think. And while Texas A&M looks like they could go undefeated, I think they play Bama in the championship and ultimately lose that one. So like you said, Ben, I think only one to two teams really stay undefeated throughout the season. And that's sort of been the theme. Like, it's not going to be that with the 12-team playoff. It's not going to be that undefeated team anymore who wins it. Like, we could see a two-loss, even like Ohio State last year, two-loss team winning the chip.
Yeah.
But let's take a look at the AP top 10 now. Vanderbilt has now made its way to number 10. Never thought I would say it, but I mean, this year I believe I can. Like, they're
they
a
look
very
great.
good team.
They look great.
Like, it's Vanderbilt, but they look legit. They look like a good team.
And then Miami falling to 9, Ole Miss falling to 8 after 2 losses. That's expected. Georgia Tech at 7, moving up after Miami and Ole Miss fall. Oregon and Georgia moving up to 6 and 5 respectively, and then the top 4: Alabama, Texas A&M, Indiana, and Ohio State staying at number 1. And this is what everyone expected. Obviously, not too much to discuss besides obviously Vanderbilt and Georgia Tech entering the top 7 is exciting. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, looking at Bama, they're like everybody in week 1 was like, oh my gosh, they lost to Florida State. They're going to be terrible this year. And they have just been on fire. Ty Simpson has really been the Heisman favorite up to this point, and I really think that they can win the national championship.
Yeah, Bama's a really good team. One team that I don't know what to expect from them is Texas A&M. They're undefeated in the SEC. The number 3 team in the country, but they haven't really played anyone great yet in the SEC. They haven't played Georgia or Alabama and won't play either of them until the conference championship at least. So I think them in the playoffs, they're going to get to the playoffs, or they should go undefeated. But I don't know what to expect from them in a big game because we haven't really seen it yet.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think an okay test will be LSU this week, even though LSU
Tomorrow,
themselves. Oh yeah, it is tomorrow. LSU themselves don't look too impressive. They were pretty overrated in the beginning of the season, and now I think they sort of fell off. They're going to be that same 8-4, 9-3 team.
Yeah.
But I think that'll be an okay test because, like you said, Luke, they really haven't played that much of a test in the SEC yet. But yeah, Bama, like you said, Myles, I completely agree. The switch up is real. Like, they lose to FSU first week, and now everyone's shouting Ty Simpson Heisman. He looks great. I mean, I think he provides an aspect that Jalen Milroe didn't last year. You know, every time I look at him throw the ball, I have confidence that he's going to get it exactly where it needs to go. He looks outstanding. But Bama as a whole looks really good, and I'm happy for Coach DeBoer, especially after taking all that heat week 1.
Yeah, I was so happy for Ty Simpson. I am incredibly more confident in him than I am Jalen Milroe. Milroe was basically a glorified running back at that point. He really couldn't throw, especially towards the end of the season. I know he had that great game against Georgia, if you remember early in the season, but that was his one time where he put it all together.
Yeah, I agree. Simpson and Mendoza, I think, are the 2 front runners for Heisman. And it's just such a step up for Alabama than last year, which they haven't really had a great quarterback in it's been a decent amount of time now since they've had a guy that you could really rely on in a big game.
For sure. I think they, along with any of the top 5, really, even the top 6 with Oregon, can win the Natty.
Absolutely. I think it's completely up for grabs this year. Obviously, Ohio State is favored. They look great, but with how good other teams look, I could see literally anyone winning it.
Yeah.
But that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for tuning in. And up next, we're going to be talking about the NBA with the season opener. Welcome back to the locker room. The NBA season just got kicked off with opening night Tuesday, so we're going to give our predictions for this year as well as covering the 2 opening night games. First off, Thunder versus Rockets. Great game, double overtime. Alperen Sengun looked like freaking Kareem out there. And I just want to hear your thoughts on the game. New Rockets additions. What do you guys think?
I mean, I thought the Rockets played a pretty good game. I mean, everyone thought that they were going to get blown out by the defending champions, Oklahoma City. But I thought the Rockets showed that they can compete for the top seed with the Thunder and that they're not scared of them. But Kevin Durant, honestly, I think he played pretty good for his Rockets debut. I mean, I feel like he's played for half of the league at this point. But, I think Rockets just played well overall.
Yeah, looking at the Rockets, they match up well against the Thunder, and they're one of the few teams in the West that can say that, right? They run the double bigs with Steven Adams and Alperen Sengun. That matches up well with Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. But looking at SGA, right, he is unstoppable. There is no defender on the planet that you can put on him and feel confident when guarding him. And for that reason, the Thunder are just going to continue to win games. Not to mention Lou Dort had like 1 for 8 from 3, and he's one of their best three-point shooters. So they'll regress to the mean. And the Thunder are still the NBA champions, but the Rockets, they're pretty close. And it also helps that they match up really well with them.
Yeah, I think these are the top 2 teams in the West. The Rockets do match up well. I think they got those 2 bigs to match up against the Thunder. Just like last year we saw the Knicks go and get 2 wings to go match up against Boston with Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby to guard Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and that worked out. So it could work out the same way for the Rockets. I think the biggest thing for them is hitting threes because they have basically 4 7-footers, and Steven Adams doesn't shoot, Amen Thompson doesn't really shoot. So the other 3 guys are going to have to hit threes if they want to space the floor and have a good offense.
They're going to need Amen Thompson to develop a jump shot at some point because you cannot, in this day and age, have your point guard unable to shoot and expect to win a considerate amount of ball games in the NBA.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. Otherwise, the Rockets impressed me. I thought the Thunder were going to beat them a little bit worse because, Rockets adjusting to new additions in the lineup. But no, Rockets definitely impressed me. I think they'll be a top 4 seed in the West this year. But moving on, Warriors versus Lakers played right after. No LeBron, obviously, for the Lakers, but Warriors take that 119 to 109. What are you guys' thoughts on that one?
I mean, I think LeBron definitely could have helped the Lakers. But I thought Luka played outstanding, I think. But, Lakers just came up a little bit short. But, Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler, I think, really carried the game for Golden State. Jimmy Butler with 31. I think that the Warriors can go pretty far in the playoffs if Jimmy Butler keeps playing like that every night.
Yeah, Luka played outstanding on offense. I didn't really see much from him on defense. Obviously, the weight concerns all year. I know he dropped 30 pounds, but, still, it doesn't seem like he's very mobile out there. They still hunt him on defense with switches and things. And my concern for the Warriors is still they don't really have, a dominant center. I know they signed Al Horford. I know they have Quentin Post, who didn't really play in that game, which was surprising. Steve Kerr, great coach, but his minutes have been somewhat questionable over the last couple of years. But the Warriors still cannot really match up with the 2 teams that we just talked about in the Rockets and Thunder.
Yeah, they've never had a big guy, but if they could be a good team with Butler and Curry, but if they go into a playoff series and they're going against Şengün and Steven Adams and Durant, there's no, how are they guarding them? They have no size to guard them right now.
Well, they're just going to get out-rebounded every possession.
Yeah.
It's really going to be tough to play some defense.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I would like to agree with you, but, the Rockets did have Şengün and Steven Adams last year. Obviously, Kevin Durant too, but I feel like the Warriors the past few years have always played small ball. We've never really had a center like that. So I feel like they find ways to adapt and play, so they're not going to really have trouble with the Rockets as much. You saw it last year. Thunder, though, I am worried about because Thunder, they look like a real contender to go back-to-back. But otherwise, I really like the way the Warriors played. Jimmy Butler brings an aspect that the Warriors didn't have. If you saw the game, 16 free throw attempts. Call him a free throw merchant. That's really something the Warriors never had. So I think that's a great addition along with what they brought defensively because they were just swarming the Lakers all game. After Butler came last year, they went to almost 1 in every category defensively. So I'm excited to see what the Warriors could do. I think they'll be a top seed in the West.
I think Jonathan Kuminga also had a pretty solid game himself. 17 points, grabbed 9 rebounds. I think that Kuminga and Draymond Green, they are the big men for the Warriors, but they're just not tall like Houston has with Amen Thompson or Şengün or Kevin Durant or anything like that. But yeah, I agree. I think their Golden State is just gonna get out rebounded if they play in a playoff series.
Yeah, I agree with you here. Kevon Looney was their center for years at this point, and every time in the playoffs, he turned into prime Bill Russell when it came to rebounding. I really couldn't explain what he did. He was just a double-double machine. Now we'll see how they replace that.
Yeah, definitely be interesting to see, especially with Al Horford coming in. But moving on, let's give our finals predictions this year as well as MVP after. Let's start off finals, though. I'm going to say Warriors versus Knicks. I know you might think Warriors is a long shot, but I really think this is the year. I think they look great. And also with the Knicks, beat the Cavs last night. I love the way they look. What do you guys think?
I mean, I disagree. I think that the Warriors are just not good enough anymore to get back to the finals. And I think the Knicks, I think it's just going to be the same as last year. They're going to make it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they're going to lose. But for my finals predictions, I have the Thunder and the Cavs. I think Oklahoma City, after we saw on opening night, they're just good enough to get back to the finals. And Cleveland with Donovan Mitchell, I feel like this is the best Donovan Mitchell has ever played in his career, based off of last season. But I think that the Cavs just have a good mentality and a good team that they could get to that final spot.
Yeah, I think that's probably the safest pick to make with like the top seed in the West who won the championship last year and the top seed from the East last year going to the finals. And it very well could happen, but I'm going to go with the Knicks and the Timberwolves, two teams who lost in the conference finals last year. And I think the Knicks are just going to get better with better coaching and more depth and an extra year together. I think this could be their year. And Minnesota, Anthony Edwards is finally going to get it done. And Julius Randle, Gobert, that team is really good. And I think they could play in the finals this year.
Yeah, I feel like we're all overthinking this in the West, right? We have all these good teams, but we're not thinking about the best player in the NBA. I think it's very easy that the Nuggets come out of the West. They finally traded Michael Porter, so they actually have a team that's willing to pass 1 through 5. And I feel like they're just a really well-rounded team, and they've already done it before. All of the teams we've mentioned outside of the Warriors have not gotten to the finals before. So looking at their playoff experience, I feel like they're a pretty easy pick out of the West for me. And then in the East, I have Detroit. I know a lot of people would disagree with that and think I'm crazy. I very well might be. But I think Cade Cunningham is going to take another leap this year. And I think their roster overall is so young, and I feel like they're going to really excel in expectations this year.
I can't see the Pistons going to the finals after that series against the Knicks last year.
Well, I mean, it's a really weak East.
It is. It's really the Knicks and the Cavs. And if the Sixers are healthy, if the Celtics can get healthier.
No, I still think it's Detroit.
Listen, I personally cannot see Detroit in the finals. I think they'll make the playoffs. They'll be a good playoff team. But I think this is the Knicks' year to get it done, right? Like, last year they make the conference finals, and this year the East is practically wide open. I think the Cavs might regress just a little bit. They had an outstanding year last year and sort of collapsed in the playoffs. I just don't think the Cavs have what it takes to, make a finals run like that. And I think the Knicks, with the experience of the past few years and with the way the East looks this year, I think this is their year to get there.
I mean, I think with the Knicks, they have to make the finals this year. They have
Absolutely.
to, because you fire Tom Thibodeau, who got you to the Eastern Conference Finals, and you bring in a new guy, Mike Brown, to try and get to the finals. You have to get to the finals. There's no other way that the Knicks, there's no other option for the Knicks than get to the finals.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, let's hit our MVP predictions really quickly now. Nick, what are yours?
I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think after we saw what he did on opening night, I mean, he's just unstoppable. Like Myles said, you can't guard the guy. He's just he'll get it done, no matter the situation.
Yeah. So reigning MVP, obviously a great pick. He's gonna have a great year. I don't think he goes back to back though. I'm going with a Nick. I'm going with Jalen Brunson, and I think it's just his year. Every year in his career, he's gotten better. Since the days in Dallas, now at the Knicks, he's gotten better every year. He's going to lead the Knicks to the top seed in the East and win MVP this year.
I agree with you about the Knicks being good, right? But when was the last time we saw a small guard that doesn't put up triple-double stats like Russell Westbrook? And I really think that it's not Brunson's year. But my MVP pick is Jokic. He's the best player in the NBA. We've never seen anything like it offensively. And I just think the Nuggets are going to be really good.
Yeah, I think I could see Jokic. I could see SGA. SGA is unguardable, I agree. The way he uses his body to get to his shot, I mean, we haven't seen that. Brunson, I think, is going to have another great year. Like you said, Luke, gets better every year. But but I don't think he has what it takes to be an MVP. He doesn't have the same aspect that SJ and Jokic has, and when you're not putting up triple-double numbers like Jokic is, I feel like it's hard to counter that. But for my MVP, it's going to be a hot take, but I'm going with Wemby. He's had a great rookie year, 20 points per game, 24 points per game last year, led the NBA in blocks while playing only half the season, almost 4 blocks a game. I think he's going to take the jump from 25 points a game to 30, maybe more. I mean, he was training with Hakeem over the summer. He was with the Shaolin monks. I mean, dude, he's coming different this year, and I think he's going to come away with the MVP. I think this is the start of something generational because what we saw the other night was nuts. But that's going to do it for this week in NBA. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be talking about baseball next.
Welcome back to the locker room. Now we're going to talk about some baseball as the World Series is about to start. So we have the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. Luke, what is your prediction for this series?
I think the Dodgers win it quick, probably 5 games. I think they're going to win 1 in Toronto and go home and win all 3 in LA. They're the better team, and I just don't see how the Blue Jays keep up with them. They're just the best team in baseball, most talent, best pitching, best starting pitching. Their bullpen is still an issue, even though Sasaki's been good closing, and they've got the best lineup, and I don't see how they lose.
Yeah, coming off that series against Milwaukee, it's clear that they're the hottest team in baseball right now. Milwaukee didn't even stand a chance. I don't think there was like one game that was even remotely competitive where you thought they had a chance in any game, really. But with the Dodgers starting pitching, there's just no better option in the MLB. You go Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow, and Ohtani. And for those reasons, I'm taking the Dodgers in 6.
Yeah, I mean, the starting pitching has just been unreal for the Dodgers. Snell and Yamamoto have both been great. Ohtani has been good after that, and then Glasnow. And I don't think you could have 4 better starters in a playoff series, especially since we'll see Glasnow out of the bullpen after he pitches his 1 game. We'll probably see Snell out of the bullpen if it goes to Game 7. And with a bullpen issue, if you're just going to keep putting more starters out there, I don't see how the Blue Jays score runs. Even if they're pitchers like Savage, who's pitching Game 1, he's pitched well, and Gosman's pitched well, he's pitching Game 2. Even if they pitch well, I don't see how the Dodgers will just end up scoring in the end of the game, and their pitching will hold up for long enough.
Yeah, with Bo Bichette coming back, though, I feel like he could really help the Blue Jays at least take a game or two. I mean, the top of the lineup for them is still going to be very good. You still have Guerrero, obviously. You still have Bichette, who's coming back. Addison Barger has somehow played well. Nobody's heard of him before this season, but he's been playing really well. But looking at the Dodgers, their hitting, especially Ohtani, since before Game 4, has not been that great. So maybe the Blue Jays have a chance.
Yeah, but the Dodgers are coming off a sweep against the Brewers where they look completely dominant, and the Brewers really had a chance in 1 game, and that was it. Versus Toronto, who's coming off a 7-game crazy series where Seattle had a 2-0 lead, and then the Blue Jays came back, and Seattle took the lead again, and the Blue Jays closed it out and came back in Game 7, just like they'd been doing the whole series. And I think they're just more tired. They've used more pitching, and I think that was their World Series. That was a big win for them. Coming and winning that series took a lot out of them. I think the Dodgers are going to have no problem.
Theoretically, if the Dodgers win the World Series, do we have baseball in 2027?
There will be baseball, but there's definitely going to be some sort of lockout or whatever to come up with a new CBA, because there's going to have to be a salary cap if the Dodgers continue to dominate like this and just buy more players.
Yeah, I don't think we see baseball, or I don't think we see a full season.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way that the players and the owners are going to come to any sort of agreement on a salary cap or a salary floor, especially since a third of the owners just don't care about their baseball team. Like the Pirates owner, it's incredibly evident he doesn't care. The A's owner, it's incredibly evident that he doesn't care. And then you have the Dodgers owner who just is willing to spend all the money in the world. And I think there's got to be something done about that.
Yeah, I agree. I think more salary floor might help more than make all the teams pay good players, make them all competitive at least. I mean, paying players doesn't guarantee you a championship. Like, other teams have paid a lot for guys, and they haven't won like the Dodgers have. And teams that don't pay the most can compete. But when you have the talent the Dodgers have, that they've paid all these guys, it's hard for a team that pays half their salary to compete with them.
Yeah, I think if Skubal and Skeens get traded, I think that will be like a big tipping point in the CBA negotiations.
Yeah, I agree, because those are guys that play two best pitchers in baseball for small market teams, and they're going to have to either take probably less money and stay there, or get traded and then get paid a lot in free agency.
Yeah. So that's going to be it for the locker room this week. We'll see you next week.